be a round of profit-taking. The November canola contract gives up $9.50 at $833.50 per ton, while the January contract forgoes $7.50 at $832.30 per ton. Additional pressure on canola is coming from sharp declines in European rapeseed and modest losses in Malaysian palm oil. There are gains in Chicago soy oil, but soybeans and soy meal are mixed. Gains in global crude oil prices are fading, but are still lending support to vegetable oils. The prairies are forecast to see temperatures rise above 30 degrees Celsius by next week, but the region is also to see rain. However, the drier areas of the prairies happen to be those that are expected to receive less precipitation. A second strike at British Columbia ports has been averted pending ratification votes by the union and the Employers Association. Earlier this week, the union voted against the deal proposed by a federal mediator. The Canadian dollar is lower on Friday morning, with the loonie at 75.65 US cents compared to Thursday's close of 75.92. Ukraine is warning that any vessels heading to Russia's Black Sea ports could be targeted on the suspicion of carrying military supplies. This follows Russia's lead in issuing the threat to vessels making their way to Ukrainian ports. Drought in the United States is estimated to be affecting 55% of the country's corn, half of its soybeans, and 31% of the spring wheat. The 30 to 90-day weather outlook for the U.S. Corn Belt is calling for cooler temperatures with above normal precipitation. Rounding off prices at the Chicago Board of Trade, soybean futures are mixed on Friday morning. The November contract loses 3 cents at $14.01.5 per bushel. August soy oil gains 1.21 cents at 68.85 U.S. cents per pound. August soy meal slips $1 at $439.50 per short ton. Corn is lower, with its September contract down 6 cents at $531.5 per bushel. Oats is weaker, with its September contract tumbling 16 cents at $4.28. The U.S. wheat complex is lower, as Chicago September gives up 17 cents at $7.10. Kansas City September retreats 16 cents at $8.58.5. And Minneapolis September pulls back 6 cents at $8.96. That's a look at the ICE futures and the Chicago markets for Friday morning, July 21st. For MarketsFarm.com in Winnipeg, I'm Glenn Halleck.
Ready to roll this haymaking season? Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John is ready, and they're offering 0% financing or cash back on select New Holland tractors, telehandlers, and hay equipment during the Ready to Roll sales event going on now. Being ready for tomorrow starts today, so hurry into Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John and save. Offers end June 30th.
For commercial use only, customer participation subject to credit qualification and CNH Industrial Capital Canada Ltd approval. Standard terms, conditions, and other restrictions apply. Down payment may be required.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Welcome to the show. A little later on, we're going to be chatting with Samantha Wigglesworth, a local artist whose exhibit, Interrupting a Portrait, is wrapping up its run over at the Peace Gallery North tomorrow. She's also set to host an artist talk and canvas building demo next Thursday at the gallery, so we'll dig into all that. But first, Sabrina Trobak with Trobak Holistic Counselling has written a new book called Not Good Enough: Understanding Your Core Belief and Anxiety. So to talk a bit about the book, Sabrina joins us now from a highway in Manitoba. Sabrina, welcome to Moose Talks.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I just love seeing the canola in the background. The Manitoba boy in me is just so pleased about that. Well, let's dig right into the book. First of all, what made you decide to write a book kind of breaking down really the philosophy behind a lot of the counseling you offer?
So unfortunately, I typically have about a 2-year waiting list for counseling. And I know a lot of the other counselors in town also have a pretty significant waiting list. And so I thought I got to try to do something able to provide some support for who can access counseling. So I decided a book that goes through and talks about anxiety and some strategies and different things to try to provide some support for more people than what I'm able to access through my own counseling agency.
So you kind of wrote this with that in mind, somebody who needs help faster than, say, 2 years, a way to kind of spread your reach a little further beyond just kind of people coming to sit in their chair and have a one-on-one session with you in your office, I suppose, eh?
Yeah, and we've found that in the last while we're getting more and more calls. You know, I probably have to 2 to 5 people a week. Earlier this spring, I did a workshop with the city of Fort St. John. We were expecting between 20 and 30 people to show up, and we ended up with over 60. So there's a lot of people that are actively wanting to work on their mental health and sort through things, and there's just not enough services to be able to provide that for support for everyone. So I'm hoping this allows people to be able to some mental health support in a bit quicker of a way, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's delve into the premise of the book then, shall we? I mean, it says the kind of subtitle is Understanding Your Core Belief and Anxiety. Of course, the title, Not Good Enough. Tell us a bit about what core belief means in this context and the context to your book.
Sure. So the model of therapy that I practice, basically at the very, very focus of that model is that everything we do for a reason, and we're always trying to support our core belief. And for a lot of people, that core belief is feeling not good enough, not important, not valued. So this core belief, not good enough, not important, not valued, plays a really significant role in everything that we do. We're drawn to people, places, events that ultimately end up kind of reinforcing that core belief. So rather than just focusing on anxiety, we need to look deeper and look at that core belief and try to work on challenging that core belief so we feel more good enough, important, and valued.
Mm-hmm. I find this fascinating because I'll fully admit on air, I'm someone who I think may fall into this sort of idea of having this core belief that maybe I'm not good enough, at least some of the time, and depending on the situation I'm in. When you say we're attracted to things that sort of reinforce that, well, what does that look like exactly? Does that mean you're sort of putting yourself up to fail by believing you're already not good enough, and you sort of make choices in your life and hang out with people who believe the same thing?
Kind of, yeah. If we look at an example, say alcohol. So, you know, when we go out, have a bunch of alcohol, it kind of numbs that not important, not valued. So for a short period of time, we don't really have to feel that emotion. But then the next day we are hungover, spent too much money, we said something embarrassing, we broke a promise to ourselves or to others about alcohol, which ultimately then ends up reinforcing that core belief, not good enough, not important, not valued. Anger, we're seeing so much anger in our society. Again, anger pushes people back. It reinforces that core belief, not good enough, not important, not valued. If it was just about anger, then we'd be able to put strategies in place and we wouldn't have it anymore. But what we know happens is we put strategies in place to help cope with anger, then you have to use those strategies for the rest of your life. What we're doing in this model of therapy and what I'm trying to address in the book is let's look at why the anger is there in the first place. Let's look at how it's connected to that core belief, not good, important, not valued, and how you can challenge that core belief. If you challenge the core belief so you feel more good enough, important, and valued, you don't need that anger as much.
And where does that core belief kind of come from? I know that's probably going to require a long answer, but this idea that you're not good enough, or even the opposite, that you are, where do you find that seems to come from in people, where that seems to start in people, that they then start to make decisions that reinforce that core belief?
It's a life of experiences. All of your life experiences end up developing either that core belief, good enough, important, and valued, or not good enough, not important, not valued. So we go, in our model of therapy, we go back and really look at a person's entire life. And we're looking at all those experiences, not just the experiences, but how they were handled. Were you validated? Were you able to express your emotions and talk about things and sort through things? That's going to reinforce that core belief, good enough, important, and valued. if you went through experiences and you were kind of brushed aside, you were ignored, you grew up with violence or aggression or neglect, then you're going to develop more of that core belief, not good enough, not important, not valued. So it's a lifetime of experiences that develop that core belief over time.
And then through your therapy and ultimately this handbook that you've so wonderfully written, healing that belief, what do you do to kind of start on the road? Is it about changing that perception you have that you're not good enough? Is it about, meeting people and knowing people who help you change that perception? Is it about both and kind of everything else, I suppose?
Yeah, we say that there's 4 steps to healing. We have awareness, understand, resolve, and then heal. So the first one, awareness, is really, really important. If you're not even aware, you're not going to do anything different. So starting to gain a better awareness of what your core belief actually is and how you reinforce it is really, really. Then we have the understanding, where we start using strategies, challenging it a little bit more. Then we have the resolve stage, where we're really sorting through and figuring out the emotional impact of all of our life experiences that have created our core belief to where we are, and our emotions in general. Our society doesn't really like to feel much emotions at all. We're maybe okay to feel, angry and happy, but a lot of those other emotions like fear, rejection, abandonment, vulnerability, we don't like to feel those emotions. So when they come up, we push them down. Holding in and suppressing emotions make it like we can't handle things as well either, reinforces that core belief, not good enough, not important, not valued.
Now, when you see something, you see this book on the shelf, you walk by it, and maybe you're not fully aware of what your core belief might be. Is this something you have to discover on your own, that, maybe this is what I'm feeling, and then kind of pick up the book, or in some cases reach out for, more help from you and other sort of counselors to start healing that? I guess my larger question is, can you find out that maybe you do need help, through this book? Or is this book sort of, you have to recognize that maybe you could use some help, and then the book will be for you?
Well, I think probably a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're going to the self-help section to look for a book, you probably already have a bit of awareness that you need to sort through something. You just might not be as sure of what it is. First part of the book really goes through and explains our core belief, explains how they develop over time. One of the things I did when I wrote the book was I made it very hands-on. So there's a lot of charts and different things where you can go in and fill out your own information and gain a much better understanding of what your core belief actually is.
All right. Well, we're having a real hard time hearing some of that, I'm afraid, Sabrina, just with our connection and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So what I will say quickly is you had said beforehand, the book's going to be available very soon in town. You're going to have some places set up for it. You also said you're going to be at the farmers market on, I guess that'd be July 29th, I think. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. So you'll be able to check out and get yourself a copy of this very soon. If you want more information, you can find Sabrina Trobak's Holistic Counselling on Facebook. They also have a website as well. Sabrina, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to chat with us about this, and we'll have to chat again soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, that's Sabrina Trobak, who's on her way back with her books as we speak, Crossing the Prairies on the way. All right, we're going to chat with with Samantha Wigglesworth, a local artist whose exhibit is closing at the Peace Gallery North, right after this on Moose Talks.
Where are the best spots to fish in northern BC?
What type of fish are in the area?
What kind of bait will help me catch a big one?
Fishing is a pretty popular pastime here in northern BC. Whether you're new to fishing or have been fishing for years, chances are you have some questions. Stop in and chat with the Backcountry team about rods, reels, bait, fishing gear, and the best spots to fish. Plus, get all the equipment and gear you need. Backcountry, where we help you enjoy the great outdoors. On Facebook and at backcountryfsj.com.
Yes, you could fulfill your dream of having a career with the railroad.
If you have a high school diploma or equivalence, a safety mindset, and meet some other basic requirements, CN offers paid training to those hired. Enjoy a long-term career with an attractive salary and benefits package. We hire for the role of train conductor, mechanic, track worker, laborer, and more. For a rewarding career, visit cn.ca/careers to learn more. That's cn.ca/careers. Get your career moving. Join us.
Choosing childcare is a big decision. Parents want to know their child is safe and well cared for, having fun, and learning new things. They want their childcare to be somewhere their child wants to go every day, a home away from home. And that's what you'll find over at the YMCA. Discover why YMCA childcare is so much more than you'd expect from a childcare center. It's where your child will learn, grow, and thrive. You can register today by visiting nbc.ymca.ca.
Bailey understands the value and importance of building relationships with local and Indigenous communities on a foundation of mutual trust, confidence, and accountability. Over the years, they have supported local organizations including Doig Days, Halfway River Rodeo, Fort St. John Hospital Foundation, Association of Community Living, and many more. Visit BaileyHelicopters.com for a full list of their services.
Bailey Helicopters, above the rest, a proud sponsor of the 2023 Fort St. John Treasure Hunt.
If it's been a rough day, a rough week, or a rough year, the last thing you feel like doing is cooking. All you want is some delicious comfort food that you don't have to prepare yourself. That's KFC. Whether you crave wings, chicken tenders, popcorn chicken, a box meal, a chicken sandwich combo, or big old bucket of original recipe, KFC is quick, easy, and oh so delicious. I mean, I think we can all agree that KFC is the ultimate comfort food. KFC on 100th Street in Fort St. John.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
Welcome back to the show. I'm very glad to be joined now by a local artist who's had a few exhibitions happening over the Peace Gallery North. The latest one, called Interrupting a Portrait, is coming to an end tomorrow, but there's still an artist talk and canvas building demo coming up next week with the artist. We're very glad to be joined now by Samantha Wigglesworth. Welcome to Moose Talk, Samantha.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start first a bit kind of about yourself as an artist. Where did your journey begin, where you got into sort of the art that you're making now, or even just art in general?
Art in general, I mean, it's the age-old story of I've been drawing as long as I can remember. Mm-hmm. I grew up doing paintings with Donna Folk in town from age like 9 to 16. I then went off to art university down in Abbotsford, which kind of changed the avenue of my art, and that's where I discovered portraiture. Mm-hmm. And I've been kind of stuck with it since. It's kind of followed me since. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. And I guess my next question is kind of what inspires you the most. I'm sure lots of things do, but do you find you keep going back to, as you say, in terms of portraiture, it's like people must inspire you, and kind of their faces and their body language.
Yes, yeah, definitely. People inspire me, portraiture, and it's kind of funny because there's this little story I tell. It's funny being a portrait artist because you meet new people and you get inspired by them. And then you have to have this really awkward conversation of, I really want to paint your face. And that's a really funny conversation to have.
So has that kind of been the case for kind of each one of your pieces, as you meet someone and there's some quality in them that you're like, I want to reproduce this on canvas?
It does happen. I'm getting more into my own photography again. I got out of it due to COVID, and having sparse availability, mm-hmm. But I'm getting back into it more so, and I had to start with my own face, mm-hmm. And so that'll be my artist in residence pieces are all self-portraits. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you find there's a theme, like, to the quality that you find in people that you're like, I need to paint you?
Actually, the beauty of it is there's not. Mm-hmm. It's very sporadic. I said in another interview that inspiration is funny sometimes, because sometimes it just hits you like a freight train. Mm-hmm. Just all of a sudden, it just hits, and there's nothing you can do about it other than paint it. Mm-hmm.
And do you think it's a physical thing, or is it something more emotional or something spiritual you pick up, or again, it really depends on the situation?
It depends on the situation, depends on the person. And, even looking at, my different shows, they're all very different. They're all portraiture, but they're all very different. And you can tell, different things have inspired me, and, different avenues is what I was exploring.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, because you are the Peace Liard Regional Arts Council, or as they're now called, Arts North, artist in residence for kind of the first half this year. Tell me a bit about that. What's that been like, kind of having this, you've got a bit of financial backing to sort of explore your art and have this, kind of a tap on the shoulder from, a big kind of institution of local arts here in Northeast BC. What's that been like for you?
It has been amazing, simply because the artworks that I wanted to create, they're all self-portraits of myself. And I wanted to dive into both new technical abilities for myself and also tap into this vulnerability. So they're very colorful portraits. So I've done my own photography, doing colored lights. So there's no like true skin tone left anymore. It's all just color, and very bright color, I might add. It's very neon. Kind of hurts my eyes to paint it sometimes, but but also it's tapping into the different facets of myself in my expression and also my mental health journey. So a lot of them are going to be really raw in my depiction of anxiety and depression and my sensory issues, and all of these things I've discovered of myself and comes to terms with myself. I don't think I would be able to facilitate that without the funding, because they're not, your average piece that, you buy off the street, right? You're not going to find anything like that in, a Winners, and the funding is what's going to facilitate me to create that and have that opportunity.
And I mean, it gives you time to do it too, as well, because you don't have to work as much out of your day job and all that. So the exhibition ends tomorrow at Peace Gallery North. So there's still today and tomorrow. You can go check it out. And then you've got this artist talk and canvas making workshop coming up next week, I think on the Thursday, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about what that's all about.
Yeah, so the artist talk is going to be diving in a little bit more to what I was talking about with the artist in residence pieces, and you'll get a little bit more behind the scenes in what's going on in my brain with those. And then the canvas making workshop, I got taught in university how to make my own canvases, and I cannot stress enough how much money that has saved me and how valuable of a skill that is. I actually used to help my professor teach the first years every semester so I could remember how to do it. And I mean, the quality of canvases that you can make for $15 overall versus what you would buy is night and day difference.
Wow.
Like it's insane.
So it's about kind of, here's where you get the ingredients, the supplies, I should say, and then building it and turning it into a canvas of the size you want, of I suppose the type of canvas it is, and all.
Yeah. It allows you to make whatever size you want, right? Like, I mean, I just buy 2x4s and I cut them down, and my dad helps me with that in the wood shop, and we cut them down into these stretchers. I'll show people that. I won't actually demo because we won't have a wood shop in that area, but I'm going to have little pamphlets that'll have all the information on it as well. And then stretching the actual canvas is a very particular way you have to do it in order for it to work properly. So I have that pretty ingrained in me, and I'm pretty good at showing it.
Yeah. Well, I want to skip ahead to kind of your final thing that you're doing as the artist in residence in Dawson Creek. Tell us a bit about that show.
Yeah, so that'll be the show of it'll be 8 of my self-portraits on final display. Yes.
And that's what are the dates for that?
It will be...
I apologize.
Oh, that's
I put
okay.
you on the spot.
That's okay. It'll be September. Keep an eye out on the Dawson Creek Art Gallery page for the actual dates and times of that event.
Okay. And then finally, what's kind of next for you after that and beyond? As I understand, you are returning to school for more studies.
Yes, so I'm going to be returning to Abbotsford for my final year at UFV, taking my bachelor's degree of fine arts. And then the goal after that is to be a full-time practicing artist in whatever capacity that ends up bringing me.
Awesome. Well, Samantha, I'm really grateful you took a few minutes to chat with us. Again, the show Interrupting a Portrait is still on over at the North Peace Gallery North. And again, next Thursday, you can sign up and show up for this wonderful art talk and canvas making demo that's going to be going on. For more info, check out the Peace Gallery North Facebook page and whatnot. Samantha, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. That's local artist Samantha Wigglesworth. Be right back to finish up here on Moose Talks right after this.
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Flame Grill taste with perfect toppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup, it's okay if I don't want that Impossible or bacon Whopper, any Whopper my way. You rule your season today at BK. Have it your way.
Hey Ed, Edwards Factory Outlet has a lot to offer for summer weddings, like a great range of suits starting at $199.95.
Or you can buy a sport jacket for only $149.95. We have a big selection of short sleeve shirts. Buy 3, get the 4th one free.
That's great, Ed. What about more casual clothing?
All dress and casual pants start at $59.95. Our big and tall t-shirts are $34.95.
Everyone has their price. At Edwards Factory Outlet Grand Prairie, it's just less.
And now it's time for
Is That Legal?
Brought to you by Collison-Zunert Law Corporation. On this episode, My Neighbor's Tree.
While we all love trees for beauty, shade, and privacy, they can cause disputes between neighbors when their overreaching branches cause damage to your property. Many cities and towns in BC have bylaws to protect and regulate tree cutting, but generally, it's legal if you cut the branches off at the property line where they overreach into your property. To be safe, talk to your neighbor first and seek their permission. Most neighbors don't want to be a nuisance.
This is not intended to be legal advice. How the law applies depends on the facts of each case. Do not get your legal advice from the radio.
Ahar! I can't believe we're so close to the booty.
Yar, it should be just around the corner, matey.
Well, did ye follow the clues?
Aye, everyone they gave us.
There she is!
It be beautiful.
Join 100.1 Moose FM for our summer treasure hunt. We'll give you a new clue Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays so you can go on your own hunt for the hidden treasure in town. And if you find it first, the bounty is yours.
Listen for the clues to be told to find yourself treasures of gold.
Well, not gold, but still some really cool prizes.
The Fort City Chrysler Treasure Hunt is brought to you by the Hairbin, Bailey Helicopter, Arctic Spas, Trican Well Service, Bronze Flooring, Carter's Jewelers, and Veronica's Closet.
Can-Do Oilfield Services is a privately owned pipeline and facility installation company in Fort St. John. They strongly believe in executing all their job functions in a safe, cost-effective, timely manner. Can-Do Oilfield Services is a proud supporter of the oil and gas industry.
Moose Country weather.
Today we're going to see a high of 21 degrees and we have a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Later tonight, low of 12, and that chance of showers and thunderstorms continue. Tomorrow we'll see a high of 23, but that sun's going to be hiding behind those clouds and a chance of showers again. Sunday, high of 22, and it looks like it's going to be sunny.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
Our thanks again to our guests Sabrina Trobak and Samantha Wigglesworth for joining us today. Make sure you stay up to date every morning with local news delivered straight to your inbox. You can sign up for the energeticcity.ca newsletter right now over at energeticcity.ca/newsletters. You can also keep up on local municipal government politics with our Peace Politics newsletter and learn more about some excellent local events and ideas for outstanding outings around the Peace with our summer events newsletter as well. Sign up for any and all of them now at energeticcity.ca/newsletters. Well, that's our show for today. Trey Lopushinsky and Jordan Prentice are the producers of Moose Talks. I'm Dub Craig. Be well.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.